Hey D&D fam, I'm Quick.
And I'm Lee, and you're listening to
Divas and Ducats. So what is a diva? I think divas get a bad rep, but to me, diva is all about the attitude.
As for Ducat, it's your finances, your assets, Skrilla, guap, your coin. We're talking all things with the potential to affect your pockets.
And while we're attorneys by trade, we are divas by choice. Divas and Ducats is for edutainment purposes.
Y'all, we are not Series 511 or 703 professionals. This does not create a financial advisor or attorney-client relationship. The views expressed here are solely our opinions and the opinions of our guests.
It's just our opinion, y'all. Okay, divas, let's talk Ducats.
Hey D&D fam, welcome back.
Yes, welcome back. We hope you enjoyed our last episode and thank you for tuning in again today. What are we going to be talking about today?
We are going to be talking about broke mentality. What it is, where it comes from, a little bit of where it comes from, how it can affect you. But before we get into that, if you are watching, make sure you hit subscribe below. And thank you for watching, of course.
Yes.
And divaadvice@gmail.com. So let's get into it.
Yes, let's get into broke mentality now. I already tell you, you're going to have to be like, fix your face.
Okay. Quick gets a little passionate about certain concepts, so we're gonna try our best to.
All right. I'm gonna try not to frown.
Bring
my
you
way
to the
through this whole
table
thing.
in love.
Yes, that's good. That's real good.
Okay, so what's the broke mentality or poverty mindset? What does that mean?
So you want my definition or the actual definition of a poverty mindset?
Let's do both. I'm intrigued.
So when I think about like the broke mentality or I think that's different. When I think about a broke mentality versus a poverty mindset, I do think they're different.
Okay.
When I think about the poverty mindset, I do think about people that have either been impoverished or people that have come from poverty, maybe, and didn't have enough, right? So there's a fear that from growing up of not having enough and that experience of not having enough, so you probably become a hoarder and clench everything in, or you feel like things are going to run out, right?
Okay.
So you just like spend it and it just is what it is.
Like you can't die with it, so
right,
why not?
Right.
Okay.
When I think about broke mentality, I think more so about people who tend to splurge on things and don't take care of basic needs.
So the people who basically they're doing things they can't afford.
Well, in their mind, they can afford them because they can get them.
Okay.
But
really and truly,
right, because
their
their basic needs are not met. And I think I saw a meme today, and it was so funny. It was like, she said, all these people around here complaining about gas prices. We know them bags must be real fake. So I was like, it was a funny meme of broke mentality, but I mean, at the same time, I was like, everybody complaining about gas prices, like
$5 a gallon,
right? I didn't necessarily think that was, but I understood the idea of it, right? Like, oh, you could afford, and somebody responded, oh, that bag is a one-time purchase. This is something I need every week. It's very different, right? So, but that, when I think about the broke mentality, that's kind of what I think about, like people that just splurge on things, usually for the gram or for other people's approval or commentary, but at home they're struggling.
So like, okay, when you said a key thing there in terms of splurging, and then you said basic needs. So how do you define, when you're talking about being able to afford something, what encompasses like basic needs?
So when I think about being able to afford something, like there are basic needs, right? So basic needs, your bills being paid, not having 30-day, 60-day notices coming in.
Got you.
Being able to pay bills on time, being able to, of course, afford clothes and shoes and all of those things, but really more so thinking about bills. Like, your bills are being able to be paid without struggling. But then I also think for me at this stage and 40 plus, I do feel like a basic needs are life insurance. Like those.
So you have basic plus.
Right. That's a basic plus.
Basic plus.
So I do think, things like life insurance, medical insurance, especially if you have kids, to me those are should be basic needs. I know a lot of people don't have them.
It's like your ducks in a row.
Right. Okay. Having your ducks in a row.
Okay.
But then you're out here with $700 cars, but don't have a $150 a month life insurance policy. Make it make sense,
Okay.
So that kind of stuff.
Okay, I got you. So when I looked it up, researched it, because I feel like a lot of people use it interchangeably in terms of poverty mindset versus broke mindset, and so. Either way, when I looked, it is that whole concept of like a fear of not having enough. And that whole, as you said, how it can manifest really in like polar ways. So either that person that's just like, well, you only live once, so I'm going to just do it because you never know. Or that person who is like Julius on Everybody Hates Chris, like quantifying how much each ice cube costs because they're so afraid that they won't have it. So I do understand like, because I just like to understand, and maybe I should have taken some more psych classes or something in college. I like to understand like the origin of something, like where is this? What is this based in? And so when you think about, especially like Black folks, if we're really honest with ourselves, we are one, maybe two generations from those folks who like they grew up poor. Right. Many of them were first, second generation college. So it's just like certain opportunities weren't there, or even just, the larger families. Like my dad, I think they're pretty much the last generation. You see it here and there, but it's not as common nowadays. But like my dad was one of 10. Right. So when you have those size families and you think about what economic opportunities were available back then, like obviously 9 times out of 10, you most folks that look like us weren't necessarily well off. Right. And so it makes sense why, like you said, a lot of times people maybe they grew up without would have that mindset of like fearing not having enough or not wanting to go back to not having enough. I know I mean, it's frustrating, but it's kind of funny. Like my dad has at least 2 of everything because...
Oh, my dad does too.
You never know when you're going to need it. I'm like, have you used it in 10 years? But, I get where it comes from, right? So I think the thing is what happens a lot of times is, or what nowadays people associate broke mentality with is not taking certain risks because you're afraid of not having enough. And that almost kind of keeping you from certain opportunities. So, for example, like, I have friends who grew up with that, and most of them fall along like the saver lines. Okay. So they're very good at saving. They have, some of them have like a year's worth of what they need, and even so, they're just frugal. They don't really shop. They don't really they don't really splurge on.
You bringing me to the table, or you?
I wasn't.
Okay,
it wasn't you, but I mean, I guess you fall into that group. Yeah, but you didn't grow up with that. So I did. I was like, no, not. But you are a super saver. But what a lot of them are saying now that they're in their 30s and 40s is like, okay, I have this money in this savings account, and it's great. Like to have that liquid money of you have $30,000-$40,000 just saved, just chilling. It is a great thing. I'm not taking away from that. But however, sometimes under this whole concept of broke mentality, because you're so afraid of not having it, your money isn't doing as much as it could be doing for you. Right. So if you have $30,000-$40,000, I'm certainly not saying take all $30,000-$40,000 and put it into, a brokerage account or real estate investment, but it's hindering you from taking a piece. Exactly. Like these savings accounts, as people who do tend to have more, they say like, you don't really put your money in savings accounts like that. Like, no, like your money should be working for you. And so I think that's the only time to me when like saving or being really responsible about your money is like the extreme of that. Right. So
yeah. And I mean, definitely as a person that was averse to taking risk for a long time, I had, even when I had my 401k, like I was, it wasn't the aggressive, investment portfolio, right? It wasn't those aggressive options. Even, and I did do more so the aggressive options for my son's 529, but because, I knew the knowledge of it being able to bounce back and go through the seasons, and he was so young. But for me, I was for a very long time, like I said, averse to that, and definitely have changed that now. And like you said, you get to see it grow.
Yeah.
And it was interesting. I sat and talked with someone that kind of broke down to me, like, why are you keeping all this money into your savings, like you said? And I understood that the savings account, I mean, the interest rates are nothing, basically. They're nothing. And then put it into a brokerage account. But even like, of course, I've always understood investing into real estate, but other ways of not real estate, because that's a big jump for some people.
Yeah.
But, even get into like the stocks, the Robinhood, and just different ways that's going to be more than that 0.3, 0.4% investment, So you can just look into those kind of ways of doing that, because she's absolutely right. Like, just putting it into a savings account is safe. It's safe, right? And I mean, I hate the saying, if you
scared money don't make money.
Scared money don't make money. If you play it safe, you play it sorry. But it's just like,
I mean, to an extent, it's true. I don't know any opportunity or any business venture where someone has not had to put up some money. Right, you have to put it out there. Right. And again, we're certainly not saying take everything you have and put it into something. And that's someone who likes a risk, loves them. But to your point, I know one time you and I were talking to someone who was in finance, and you and myself too, it was just like, okay, I mean, this whole thing with debt, I don't want to debt. And he said, a lot of us have been taught, not necessarily wrong, but we have an interesting view on debt. We view all debt as just bad, whatever. And it's like, one thing that he said that clicked for me as I start, trying to make my money make more money, is debt that makes you money is different than consumer debt. Right. If you got these credit cards you need to pay off, by all means, like, no, get all of that. Go on. But if you have debt like your home and you figure out how to make money off of your home, that is actually better, because think about when you're looking at credit worthiness, they look at debt to income. If you're showing, I owe on this, but this is how much money I make from it, it sets you up for other opportunities. Right. So, I mean, just something to think about if you are thinking about getting involved in something like, oh, I want to invest in real estate, or if you're even a safer thing is go in with a few people and say, okay, we want to invest in this thing, so you're not by yourself. It's not just all your money, or if you're financing, it's not all on you. That's something to consider, is, okay, it might be a debt for a number of years, but is it making you money? And is it making you more money than what you would owe in terms of your whatever the payment might be? So,
and this is not something we previously talked about, but just like when we're saying all these things we're learning is because of connections, right? Yeah. And I do think a part of broke mentality is not having resources, not connecting to people, like wanting to be the top person in your circle, right? Like just people looking at you and you being able to tell everybody's, like, I used to be, up there in my circle, you know what I'm saying? But now I feel like I'm one of the dumbest people in my circle, and it makes me so happy. Like, I just be like the people I am here, connected to, and the stuff that I can learn. I tell people all the time, like, to me, not having a build a circle, and I, we talked about, like, it's hard. We understand it's harder for guys. It might be harder in the season you're in if you're older, but build a circle so you can learn these things. You shouldn't know everything. If you know everything in your group, then you need a new group. Like,
true. And it can come from more than one group, because I know, for example, there's like certain questions I'll ask you or my mom, because that's just more of y'all's wheelhouse. Like, I was like, okay, this is something I'm not understanding about a HELOC. I need to understand blah blah blah. And but you might go somewhere else for a question about, okay, stock wise, should I be doing this? So it's okay if it comes. It's not like everyone in your circle has to have, the same thing.
So like, you diversify your portfolio, diversify your friends.
Exactly. The other thing, though, is if you don't have that circle available, like, there is a Facebook group for everything. So Facebook didn't pay us. We need to hit them up then. Because I'm just telling you for free. Like, there is literally a group for everything. And you can, like, don't just take someone's word for it. If you see something, look it up, because Google is also free. You can verify the things. that you learn. But you don't necessarily have to know a person, have them tangibly like right there where you can touch them to be learning from someone. So there's a group, you in a group talking about Cardi B, hip hop, whatever it is you like on any other channel. Clubhouse is still popping for what I've heard. Like, get in the groups that are talking about the financial steps you're interested in, and the ones where they're not trying to sell you something. Because no shade to the folks who are into, we're going to get into, the crypto later or whatever, but if you feel like you're in something where this is becoming a pyramid scheme, that is not you getting, free game. That is, we're trying to bring you under us to make money off of you. Now, to each his own. I'm just saying, if you're trying to step out there and use your money to make money, you just might want to consider being in a group where someone's not trying to sell you something. It just, trying to network, see what you know, see what they know, and go from there.
Yeah. And I think also when I think about, like, people that say, like, it's hard to build friends, it's hard to build networks and stuff like this, it also makes me think about money, right? Like, you can clench your fist and keep everything to yourself, but nothing can come in.
True.
But if you let out, things could come and flow into you. And when I think about that, I think about people that don't necessarily volunteer in their community for anything. It's just like, me and my house is straight, we good. But the only thing you're going to have is you and your house. Like, your kids, if you have kids, they're going to leave. So where are your resources? But I do think a huge way, easy way to build a network is to start volunteering. Give your talents, give your time into your community. And obviously in that moment, you're going to meet like-minded people, because obviously there's a connection right there that you don't even have to try to figure out. Like, it's an easy conversation to have, like, to build onto other conversations. So I would suggest that for people that are trying to build a network and try to find, friendships and grow their circle. Yeah.
So let's get into the fix your face moment of luxury and YOLO and what was the term you used the other day? Normalizing luxury.
Yes.
Let's get into, what does that mean?
So it's people, like you said, one of the extremes of the poverty mindset is feeling like, well, you're only going to live once, right? And that's what the YOLO comes from. You only live once. So I'm going to spend it.
Here's the thing. You don't know if you're going to live to 35 or 95. So,
right.
So it's a gamble.
There you go. And then there's, normalizing luxury, which has become a term in our community because people are often shamed for having things that other races like do just because, right? Okay. For instance, when I traveled to Africa, the place that I stayed at had maids, they had, seamstresses, and it was just a normal thing, like, the cleaners, but in the States, that's something that's viewed as a luxury. And it is. I'm not going to say viewed as. It's a luxury to be able to have someone and come into your home, because there are people like, in one of our episodes that said some people still don't even have washer and dryers in their home.
Right.
So, yes, it is a luxury to have someone come in to be able to, clean your house, wash your clothes, cut your grass. Yeah. So those kind of things, that term normalizing luxury. But I think for me, the issue is when it becomes like a hashtag thing, right? Versus you really assessing whether you can afford this thing or just, I'm normalizing luxury, like hashtag luxury, or like just.
Well, you know what? I think it's getting sexy. So we have these certain things. I talk about how people love to say generational wealth now, but just like generational wealth is, a generation by generation thing. Right. There's also generational poverty, right. And a friend of mine's husband pointed that out and was just talking to some of the things that he sees working in the public school system. So both of those are true things, right. And I think people are just so interested in wealth and accruing things, but again, the concentration is things, right. Instead of, okay, what does this wealth allow you to do? how does this wealth allow you to be of assistance to others, which is to me part of why we're here.
Right.
And so
then it's part of how you close the wealth gap, being a service to others.
So but a lot of it is concentrated on how can I get for me and mine.
Accumulate, right?
And so same thing with this luxury thing. This normalizing luxury has become a sexy topic because people, I mean, it's a highlight reel, right? And I think it hasn't been used in the way that you're saying of like services. It's been used more so from a concept of goods. So you'll see somebody go get their Louis bag and it's like, girl, I'm normalizing luxury, or
on a yacht,
right, red bottoms. Like it's things that they're showing you when they do the hashtag instead of like, I'm trying to build a business and I freed up some time by using this service to clean my home. Hashtag. No, you don't see that.
Right.
And I think to your point of if you can afford it, because most people can't, really do an assessment of, what your bills are, what you have going on. And if you have those extra funds, because time is the only thing we can't get back. Yes, do not be ashamed to have someone clean your home.
Right.
There's different packages, so figure out, what's affordable to you. Because I know me, myself, personally, I'm like, child, you could just do these floors.
Right.
And these bathrooms. I don't need you to do the windows and all that. I don't know if I'm ready for that package every month. But, or even not every month. You can have somebody come every other month, do the deep clean, and you just maintain things like that. I have a friend who's like, I now am in a position to pay for the things that I don't want to do to free up my time. She does not like doing laundry, so she has the service where they do the laundry every week and they drop it back off and it's folded and it's great. I think if you can't afford those things, it's actually more so the norm that you can't.
Right. Exactly.
Figure out, especially if you have kids, first of all, the kids are there free. So each one has a job. That house will be spick and span. Whose job is the floors? Whose job is the bathrooms? Whose job is the windows / dusting the furniture?
Right.
Your house is clean. I mean, you need one more for the dishes. So if you got 2 kids and a partner or, somebody that's regularly there, however you define it, 3 of them are done, and you get that. You do the dishes or the dishwasher, whichever choice you want to do.
And I don't and that's such a segue, but I don't understand like not making your children be contributing factors to your home. Right? They are there for more than going to school, playing sports, and doing homework. Especially, like, I'm not even. I was about to say especially for single parents, but no, not especially for single parents. Period. Like, I just don't understand, people that don't give their kids chores. And it's just, it's mind-blowing to me that you were willing to work yourself to death and not even let your child wash clothes, not make them learn how to cook, not make them load a dishwasher. They didn't got to wash the dishes. Load a dishwasher, vacuum. My son does all these things. And that's why I mentioned him. He is 9. He does all of these
and that's
things.
Why she signs all of her things. Dear future daughter, you're welcome.
You are welcome.
But a lot of folks out here don't know how to do that.
I'm just not going to stress myself. Like, you're not about to be downstairs playing Fortnite and I'm up here
watching baseball.
Right, getting 15,000 steps in, struggling by myself. I don't live in this house by myself. I didn't dirty it up by myself, and I'm not going to clean it by myself. But, that's another conversation for another day. But you have helpers. That's some of your luxury right there.
I'm just saying, in the terms of if you can't afford it, you make them little people.
Yeah.
Instead of, because otherwise you spend your Saturdays, because think about it. A lot of us do that. Saturdays they put gospel on, you clean the whole house. Or as an option, if you don't have kids or whatever, one of the things that I do is each day you have a certain task. So of course, I mean, dishes are one of those things that happen every day. But like, for example, maybe Tuesdays are your bathrooms, Wednesdays are your floors, Thursdays is dusting. So really over the course of 3 or 4 days, you've done something and your house is constantly clean. So you're not having to like spend the whole day that you should be enjoying for the weekend or whatever cleaning or doing a task that you don't want to do.
But I'm with you. Like, I just don't. If you could afford that and not do it, like you said, it's freeing up you time to make money somewhere else. Kudos to you. Like, it is a beautiful thing to be able to do that. But like you said, some of those other like you said, non-services, right?
Yeah.
Those are services, but some of the goods, like I've recently gotten into shoes, right?
You have.
I've walked into the sneakerhead world. Had no idea. I had no idea that those sneakers were going to cost more than most of the heels that I purchased.
Well, it depends on your shoe size.
Right.
So
I'm up there. So you got toddler sizes. I'm a whole adult size, dang near man size shoe over here. So
the one time being short pays off.
Right.
Yes. Save a little money.
That is the thing. Like, if you can afford, when I look at these walls of these people that have sneakers, I'm like, that is some money. So I'm sorry if you have a bunch of Jordans and Dunks. I'm trying to learn the difference and all these things in your house, and you're telling me no, I can't afford insurance, or you getting 30, 60. That makes no sense to me. That to me is a broke mentality. Put in these babies, and people do it, and it's not judgment.
It upsets her every time.
It does, because they grow out of it so quickly. Now, again, I'm not saying, to me, it just doesn't make sense, period, whether you can afford it or not. But, but the broke mentality part of it to me is, a person that, will go into the store and maybe be, to the point where they're even asking them borrow money for the baby's milk, but their baby got on a whole full Jordan outfit. Like, it is... Make it make sense.
Priorities.
Right. It doesn't make sense to me.
Now, the caveat I will say there are some people, like Jordans, if you don't, because I'm guessing they never wear them. If you don't wear them, they become collector's items.
Right.
So some people,
like a Chanel bag.
It's like an investment.
Right.
So I kind of get if you got some kind of game plan there. Like, okay, go ahead and get those, because literally...
I still don't get it if you can't pay your bills.
No. True. You probably shouldn't have got that collector's item. But it's crazy because if you think about it, for the most part, the same pair of Jordans is coming out every few years.
Oh, yeah.
So if the person who's like, I'm going to just hold on to it. And then because now that the systems they have to buy, it's ridiculous. The bidding, the whatever.
Right.
So, I think it depends on your, what's the word I'm looking for? Your strategy there. Certainly, I'm not saying to go spend $200 to collect it if, like you said, it's going to affect your ability to pay your rent. That's different.
Right.
But
yeah,
for the folks out there,
and it's not limited to Jordan. I mean, for me, that part of broke mentality extends to bags, shoes, cars, all of it. It just really doesn't make any sense to me if you're at home collecting bill collectors and notices, but you in a Maserati outside. It makes no sense to me. And I do think that that's broke mentality, because it's about what do people think about?
Like?
Yeah, what does it look like? What is the imagery of what I'm in? People just love getting compliments. Sometimes they pull up in a car that fulfills something in them.
Yeah,
but
I think it's okay to have your thing, because the mentality we're talking about, I think we talked about it a lot in our Keeping Up with the Joneses episode. At least where it comes from, why it matters, how it sets you back. That's not to shame the people. If you have your thing, because there's going to be some things that I just don't get. Like, I will bring myself to the table. I have a friend who makes fun of me so much because I cannot make myself buy a bag. And she and I went back and forth because I was like, I needed like an everyday black bag. I was like carrying my wallet around. Like, I just was like, because of course she likes bags. So she's going to send me something. Girl, that bag was about $1,000. Now, me being me, I said, I can't. Now, will I drop $1,000 on a trip in a second? I will.
So that's your thing.
That's my thing. Right. But and it's crazy because we went back and forth because she called herself being smart. She told me, just go get a Coach bag there, because that's how she feels about Coach. Child. I don't know nothing about it. So I was, but I think the thing is, everybody, like you said, you have your things. And even when I've done a trip, I've been able to pay my mortgage.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to pay for this trip. And if I can't afford the trip, It's going to affect my mortgage. What we going to do then is figure out, people laugh at me, I love a payment plan. So if it's like, okay, well, I'm in a bind, Nate, I can't do it this right now the way I can't pay it.
Nate?
Girl, you know you in Black Cinema. It's from Set It Off. I can't do this with you.
You know I don't think the people knew about my situation.
I'm sorry. My bad. I was just like, really?
Who is Nate?
Because I said I can't. But in that situation, it'll be like, okay, let me figure out this plan where I can pay a couple $100 a month over the course of some months and then go. I love a payment plan. Right. So again, like, figure out what works for you.
You do the same thing with your bag. I'm just playing. No, you can't. I don't think Louis Vuitton take payment.
Child, they looking at you like, if you can get your broke stuff out here, you can it's bad.
Let's go do it this weekend and see if they'll let us.
You know, I will embarrass you and be like, do y'all have a payment plan? Cause
I'll put down $75.
Can I can put something on it. Y'all got layaway. Child, they gonna be like, you can't afford it.
And I'm like, that's what the point of my show was.
Right, let's side you our card. But yes, y'all. So really, we just wanted to talk about that, especially because social media is prevalent. You see everybody doing the highlight reel, everybody with their nice things, and just really make sure that you are making what money you do have. If you do have a little extra, make sure that you're making it work for you instead of just a process where you're just putting it back in the system and you're not really seeing the growth that you could, especially in this economy, especially with who knows what Social Security is going to look like. Just, start thinking about those things.
Right. And for those that are, doing all the things and they got their luxury,
hey, do you?
Right, 2 snaps.
All right. Do we want to get into a little letter?
Oh, we got one?
We do have one. Yes. All right. If you would like to hit us up with your questions, comments, shenanigans, divaadvice@gmail.com. That's DIVAADVICE @gmail.com. So, today's letters goes, Dear Divas, I've been planning my wedding for the last 4 months. It's been tough because of COVID restrictions and it impacted some of the things we can do, but I've still been super excited because I'm marrying my best friend. It's cute. The problem is my fiance is super frugal and tries to veto every idea I have. He's actually proposing tacky things like chicken wings at the reception or using the clear plastic cups to save money. While I do want to be conscious of our budget because we're paying for everything, I don't want a cheap-looking wedding. How can I go about talking through this and find a solution that works for us both? What would you compromise on? Signed, Anonymous.
So, Anonymous.
You having chicken wings?
I mean, I think we're like spirit twins or whatever, so I feel him. I don't mind chicken wings. I'm sorry, I don't mind chicken wings.
At the reception?
I don't mind it. Look.
I learned something new about you.
Girl, is it new, really?
I mean, at the reception, because you laughed at me when I said if I had a shower, I want some wings. And you was like, So you, I don't mind. Done a 180. Okay.
So, but not the way, like, I feel like you could dress up anything, and which is why I laughed at the fact that she's talking about these plastic cups, because people put some real fancy things in those little plastic cups, and in their little appetizer suddenly, you dress something up.
I think it depends on the type of plastic cup. Like them red Solo
we're not talking about red Solo. I hope he's talking about clear. We're vetoing red Solo cups.
Okay.
We're vetoing red Solo cups.
Okay, so you're saying the cute
little plastic cups. Okay. Right. You can slide a little chicken wing. I don't know, they can dress it up. They can dress up your chicken wing. It does not have
so much with their chicken wing.
It does not have to be in the foil pan.
Girl, can you see with that bone in and people just them flats?
You can have his chicken wings. Look. Or have them at the rehearsal dinner. There's compromise.
You could.
He could have them at the rehearsal dinner.
Okay.
What I would not compromise on, what everybody remembers about the wedding, is the food.
True.
Do not compromise on the food. Do not compromise on your dress. Mm-mm. They do remember the bride. Yeah. And what the bride, they might not remember what the groom tux looked like unless it's just completely... a bold color.
Yeah, you did something different.
Right. Mm-hmm. But the black tuxedo, we're not going to really remember. But we remember the bride's dress. we remember the food. Yeah. And a lot of people remember the music.
You
like
remember the DJ. Like,
yeah, you remember the DJ.
Whatever,
if it is boring and everybody is just talking and leaving, right after you cut the cake, then, everybody's looking at your DJ. So I wouldn't cut on those,
Okay.
And?
So in terms of how can you talk about it? So I would basically ask him I think I would more so ask him for a number because some of his suggestions are making you feel like, ooh, that's tacky. So I would ask him for a number, or
he wants input.
Right. And I get that. But I'm just saying, like, if she gives him a number, maybe she could present some options that fit in that number. And he could still be involved.
Okay.
Or like divide and conquer. The things that you don't truly, I mean, it's hard to say you don't care about anything in your way, but the things that are less priority for you, maybe let him handle those things. And then you say, because you said y'all are paying for it. So girl, you might have to just take your money and be like, this is important to me. I'm going to pay for this because we're not going to do it like this. So
I do think you could compromise on the cake.
Yeah.
You could have a small, cute tier cake for your cut.
Listen, Sam's makes cake. And
Publix.
They do. And you could get them to stack it. It can still be cute, depending on how many people you have in there. If you're having a bunch of people.
If you're having a bunch of people, that's what I'm saying. Like, you could do a cute cake for the cutting, for the picture, and have a sheet cake in the back. And they
Sam's cake.
Right. They're taking it to the back anyway to cut it up and bring it back out. Nobody will ever know. So you don't have to have you a $500, $600 cake.
True. And it's good cake too.
Right. Publix has amazing wedding cakes. Yeah.
So, or you could do this cheaper. Usually, you could do cupcakes.
Yes.
You could have the little towers or whatever because it's COVID. So nobody.
People charge for it regardless, just because it says wedding on it. So a wedding cupcake suddenly becomes really expensive.
Oh, well, don't tell them it's a wedding. Just put the tears on.
Right.
But you're asking me myself personally. I would probably compromise. I'm thinking about the major things you think about a wedding. Like
first,
the
would you have wings?
I'm with you. The wings gonna have to be at the rehearsal dinner,
okay.
Or if you do wings, like the what's it called? Like when they're taking pictures, when everybody's like.
I do know what you're talking about, but I'm drawing
the cocktail hour. Yeah. You can have your wings at the cocktail hour. Because guess what, girl? You're going to be taking pictures. You're not going to see them people eating them wings, getting their hands all saucy. You're not going to see it. So just, make the presentation nice.
It could be dry rub.
That also y'all can compromise there. Tell him no sauce. And, figure out how to present them nicely. A caterer will know how to dress it up cute. So maybe y'all could do that. I'm trying to think, like, when you think about the major things of a wedding, you have like, okay, the venue, the dress, DJ, food. Oof. I'm not compromising those things because those are important.
They are. I was just about to say,
people
remember when you went to a really nice venue. You remember. I
can't pick no janky venue. I can't. I mean, okay. I will say this. You can pick a simple venue if your decorations are really nice.
Yes.
So I would compromise on not having this grand view or whatever that, an expensive venue if the decorations are very nice because it will make that venue look nice. It'll look like a whole new world in and of itself when people walk in. So I'll say that.
I think for a venue, one of the funnest weddings I ever went to, a friend rented out a trailer out in, I don't know if it was felt like the country because we were driving through the woods, Black Girls in the Woods, driving through the woods to get to the trailer, and it was on a lake. It was so simple, the simplicity of this wedding. He had on like a khaki jacket, it was so simple, and they did their little walk. It wasn't in no limousine. They did it wasn't a paddle boat, but it was something like that out the lake, and they came right on back to eat with us. It was so simple and cute, and the food was barbecue style. So,
okay, so that's an example of where you could do something simple, but it's not
cute.
Tacky.
Right. It wasn't tacky
or
at all.
Like sometimes, depending on if you know someone with a nice backyard and you like the outdoors, I could see maybe compromising there because again, you can figure out how to make that nice. It's simple, what have you. But I agree with Quick. Yeah, I agree with Quick. Like your food, your photographer,
Oh, yeah.
DJ, and your dress. Like those 4 areas, again, if he is not willing to budge, you might need to be willing to figure out some payment plans. And, you know, he might just get to pay for these wings or this cocktail hour or, you know, divide and conquer on that, because those 4 things, like your photographer captures that day. So if you have like you can't have a bad photographer.
You can't have a bad photographer. I do think you could shop around, though, and get a really great photographer. When I was looking, I mean, there are easily photographers that are, I mean, the norm ranges seem to be $6,000 to $10,000, right? Yeah, they were high, especially if you want to bring in a videographer with it. Like, they were not $1,000 isn't just buy. Like, you might get a student, you know. And then that's not a knock, because that was a person I was looking at. Like, he did a lot of the drone videography. So you know, that was his, and he learned it from through tech school. He was in school, so he charged cheaper. So I would say, you know, that there are ways, if you want to cut costs but still have quality, definitely go to schools and look for people that have a portfolio. Now, don't just be going to wing it. Look at their portfolio. Look at previous weddings that they did. Don't look at, you know, graduations. No. Look at weddings that they have done, because it's a whole different beast. And see, you know, what their wedding photography. But you don't have to go to, you know, the top name guy that's on IG, you know, that's getting the $30,000-$60,000 views. You're just gonna lose that, because he up there. He is, right. It's not that's not in your budget. But you still can get. It still be nice. Right. You're not gonna cry when you get your pictures back. That's what we don't want you to do, because you know, brides have had many regrets trying to cut that bride. So yeah. Okay. So I do like the idea of giving him a budget and then presenting him
with the options. You find stuff that works in there that you still like. Yeah. Because.
Yeah. And if that man wants his chicken wings, figure out a way to put it in there.
Just give him the wings.
Because they don't ask for I don't feel like guys ask for very much when it comes to.
They don't. But he talking about veto with every idea. I'm gonna start bringing ideas now.
That's absolutely true. This is gonna be package 1, 2, and 3, and solo cups are no. They are absolutely not happening.
Heck no.
At the bachelor party. That's it.
That's your stuff.
That is it.
All right, Anonymous, let us know how it goes. Congratulations. DivaAdvice.com. DivaAdvice@gmail.com. There we go.
Well, until the meantime, in between time, have a great attitude.
All right, bye.